Okay, this will be a quick overview of making animation loaders. Okay, what we are talking about it is this kind of things. You see, so we usually see them in applications where we see loading like states or something like that, right? And then we see the other one which is like this or sometimes like this. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. So we're going to start with the solid state first, right? We're gonna start with let me say state A, right? Or let me just say the initial state, initial initial state. Okay. So I will want to define these things. So first of all, what I see there is what let's just maybe redo this or redo this ones or this ones here first, right? So what we see there is what, first of all, is a cycle, right? We have to know how to make a cycle. We know that to make a cycle, we need two properties. The width must be equals to the height, right? And then the other one, we must do what? Maybe a border radius, maybe add a border radius with pixels or in percentage or in percentages. In percentages, you just use 50%. Okay, in pixels, you'll use almost half of the width and height. Okay, it's fine, but we'll see how we go about that. Then what else do I observe here? This is what I get. So look at these lines. If you observe carefully, what you are looking at, you see this whole line when it's like this whole line when it's like that. Actually, what you should be observing is what is that we will also have a border, right? And then after having a border, we will also have a border top or bottom or a border something. Let me just say a border side. Let me just say a border side, right? It could be border right, border left, so on and so on and so on. But let me just say this. Since we see this one here, we're gonna have it like this. Let me say it's starting to be a square like this, and then some other sides are gonna be complete, right? Sometimes you get to see it like it's having like this, and then the rest of the other sides are what. So it means that here we have a border and a border top color there, right? And then here we have a border but with a border top and a border right. Okay, and then all of those we made them a cycle. So when we're in this state, we're actually making what, a cycle like this. Okay, let me rather use it much more better. Okay, the blue side was this side, and then maybe the black side was this side, completing that cycle. Okay, it's almost something like this. Okay, so we're gonna look at that and then see how far we can go with it. Okay, then the other thing that we should be observant of, I think it's all. Okay, so we're gonna just be looking at those. Okay, so I'm just gonna go inside my code, and then I already made a file here, so I'm gonna do what, I'll just say dot animation. Okay, then I just made a div class here, and I don't want to add anything inside it, right? And then I'm just gonna come to my style here, and then I'm gonna say what, dot animation, right? And then when I get here, I said that we have to define what, we have to define the equal width and the equal height. Okay, remember that when we are making a cycle, we must have them as equal. Okay, so I'll just quickly just come here for testing purposes. I'll just make it aquamarine like this, right? So that when we come here, we reveal it and then do this, we'd see nothing. Okay, but it is because of what, we already know that properties inside HTML have a width by default but does not have a height by default. For example, let me just say height is equals to 100 pixels. Okay, When I do like this, we already see that this element was starting from this side, reaching to the other side of the screen, but we were not able to see it because of going up and down was not defined yet. Because if I say maybe 1 pixels here, let me just go there and then we see how thin it is, you see? So we almost observe that there's actually um, almost none, it is actually almost non-existent. Right? Okay, then let me just do this. So now let's go back to our business, and then now here I said that we wanted to make it a cube first. um 250 pixels. You can use any, remember how to adjust to stuff, right? I just wanted to have this. Okay, so after having it, it's fine. Then I can do what I can, maybe I can say what border, and then maybe I'll say 2 pixels, and then maybe RGB like this, and then maybe I'll say what 230. Yeah, I want to just make it gray color, ne? 230. You can also say 230 is fine. I mean, like you can just also say gray. You can just say gray here instead of this. Let me just say, you can just say gray, right? And then maybe when it comes here, you adjust it, because I was coming to which ones around here. It's also fine, is it? Yes. And then when it's like this, let me see, what did we miss? Border, this, we're missing something else. We had to define if it is a solid dashed or these things here. You see this one is solid, then dotted, then dashed. All right, it's dashed like this. So those ones are a little bit weird, but we will see how we get to those ones. Okay, so let's do this. Oh, we were supposed to go to the browser and check, and then do like this. You see, now we have a line there. Okay, so but it's too thin. Let me just say maybe 6 pixels. Let me see. Okay, now it's thicker, right? So now we know that we have equal width, equal height. We can just say what, but the radius is 50%, right? Just to make this thing a cycle. Now we see it's a cycle, right? So did we need the background color? No, I can just comment it out so that we can track our own progress. We see that we have this. Okay, then after that, we know that we said that we wanted the border maybe top. You can couple top and right, top and bottom. Let me just say you mix them however you can, right? Maybe let me say put a top here, and then maybe I'll just say 6 pixels. Maybe there I said RGB. Maybe I'll just minus those values by 10, 10, 10, or 20, 20, 20. Maybe I'll say 100 here, then I'll say 100 here, I'll say 100 here. It's a lighter gray or a darker gray. I mean, a lighter gray and a darker gray there. Okay, so that's what we see up there. Okay, so um, it's about a top. Then what will actually happen if we add it like this again? Maybe border right. Okay, so actually what's gonna happen, it's just appearing like that. Okay, let me see, what did we do wrong? Oh, actually we missed this. We missed this. That's why it was so not showing. Okay, let me just comment this code out so that we can see the parts that we missed here. Okay, well, you see, okay, actually, like do you see like the topper like side, this one, the border top is darker. Okay, let me just go make it maybe now a little bit darker like this so that we can see it. Okay, you see, now you see it, right? So when we missed the solid part, or maybe the border style, remember that it wants what, I said that, remember when I said you can pass it, or let me just say border, and then you can just say v1, v2, v3, right? Where your v1 and v2 and v3 are actually your what do you call it, style and width, and maybe the color again, right? But remember that we can reshuffle them. We can just say v2, v1, v3, and actually you get what you get, also a combination of 3 by 2 by 1, which is 6 possible ways to write this thing, right? So here the order doesn't matter. You saw on our side we used the RGB, or we used the gray, and then here we used what was it, 6 pixels here, and then here the style we used solid. But you remember that we have a choice to say that it's solid, dotted, dashed, double, so on, right? So here it was just what, it was just 3 factorial styles possible of writing this format. Okay, so that's why but more importantly, we still need what v1, v2, v3 inside there. But if we miss one property or more, maybe let me say that we omitted v3, or we omitted v1, or we omitted v2, or both of them, or something like that, right? It will not work, just like we have observed that it didn't work out, right? So now we have it like that, and then we can go on and say what, if we wanted to make the top side, I mean like the cycle have a longer side, I mean like that color that we see there on top to be longer, then we can be doing what, we can do what, we can make it like this so that it can appear like this format here. Okay, so we'll have what, we'll have, we already have the top, and then we can go at the right. So this is what we have here, and then I'll uncomment it. Then remember that we said we missed the solid, right? So we must re-include it again. What did we miss again now? RGB, this for the right. Oh, this one, it's almost as light as that one, right? So here it was 35, 35, because it was light like this one. Remember that we didn't see it even before we changed it to the second one, or the border top property. So there was no chances of us seeing it again. But here there's actually 3 colors. If you observed, it was the darker one, the darker, a little bit darker one, and then the very lighter one, right? So if we do this now, we see that we have that other side, right? But if you observe again, it was just what, it was just us still saying that we wanted what, we wanted this side and this side. Like, observe this beauty, you see, it was actually us saying that we want to color this side and this side. Okay, so let's just go back to our border radius there. Then we have 50% there, and then we returned back to our normal. Okay, so that's how we get to make what do you call it, the loader thing, right? So let's get to see if we can make it rotate, so on and so on and so on. Okay, so we have but let me just make sure that we have it on another video, right? A separate video, or should I make this longer? I don't know. Okay, let me just push it on. Okay, so we have what we call at keyframes, keyframes, and then the animation name, right? And then we do what, just like how we did add media queries, but then this one, maybe let me just say load, right? And then I'll do what, I'll just say, maybe here I'll specify the times when I want to start the animation, so on and so on and so on. Like here we'll go with CSS again. Okay, but now what we have to observe is that we want to come in here, the animation side, inside this class. Okay, when we are in this class, we must make sure that animations actually always have their names, we have to have, let me just write it properly, animation name, animation names, animation dot name dash name, right? Maybe I'll say this name that I put here, right, is what is load. Okay, and then I'll do like this. Then we need what? Animation duration. Duration, we must know how long the animation will take, right? Maybe I'll say 5 seconds, right? 5s, right? Then again, we will need extra more properties. I always say to my students, I say that they must always know it as flipped, or shorter way of saying what? Flip it. We don't have another p here. Okay, so just saying flip it or flipped, right? But this is just a mnemonic to say that we have what? We have a fill mode, fill mode, we have animation. Let me write it properly too. Animation, animation, fill mode, fill mode here. You'll see the options that we get there. And then we have another one, iteration mode, iteration, animation iteration, and so on and so on, like this. And then the P is for play state. Play state, you will see also the options there. Then for now, you'll just choose the default, and then tomorrow, on the 3rd of July, oh, the 2nd of July, today is today. I'm actually recording this at 1 a.m. I have to sleep. So we have another one is what? Timing dash function, right? And then we'll fill up something here. Okay, so again, when we're done, we just have to do what? We have to call it like as if we were calling a media query, but we'll see this part, right? And then I'll explain much more. Okay, let's just go inside. So inside here, I'll just say flipped. I'll just do it like this. Oopsie, I wanted to comment, right? But I said that any animation must have what? Animation name, so on and so on and so on. This is the shortcut of having it, right? So animation name, animation duration, animation timing function, delay, we'll skip it, animation iteration count, direction, we have to have it, and then fill mode there. Okay, but let's do it properly, right? Writing it in short wants you knowing what, like, it wants you to memorize it, that one. So this is one of those properties that you would wish to write in full. Okay, so I'll say animation name dash name, right? I'll give it a name. I said is what? It's I said, okay, let me just say it's flip. Okay, and then I'll say animation duration, I'll say 4 seconds, right? Then I'm done. Then now here comes the flipped part. Let me just do it like this, so that I can put it underneath. Okay, and then flipped part is what? Animation fill mode. Then we have those ones, backwards, both, forwards. Let's choose forwards for now, and then I'll explain when we're in class, right? And then now I'll just do like this, animation iteration, with iteration count, infinite. This one is self-explanatory. How long do you want your animation to take? Yes, despite having 4 seconds there, how long do you want those 4 seconds to repeat? Do you want it to load 4 seconds once, or do you want to load 4 seconds infinitely? So okay, so we had what? Iteration, right? So we need what? We need a play state. Animation play state is here, I see it. And then there's paused and running. When you say it's paused, it will not go or do any animation, but when you say it's running, it will just do the animation thingy. Okay, so what is missing? The timing function, right? I'll say animation timing function. So we see this ones here, right? So these ones are what? These ones are cubic graphs, just like in the, what do you call them, in mathematics, right? Like a cubic graph, and Bezier is just like I think it's the same name of the guy who came about cubic graphs. cubic functions and or etc, right? But let's just go with the easier ones. Okay, when you get here, let me just say, just scroll up, and then we have steps. Step start, like you see when something okay, this ones I'll explain them when you see them, right? Or I'll give you a video on how to, like, on the animation, looking at it properly, on what we mean by stepping, right? Because it's almost like this other game that we had in our childhoods, I think, but I can't remember the name of the game. So for now, just choosing between your is in, out, is out, right? I will explain to you in in graph terms, and then show you actually what actually happens there, right? Let me just choose in the is in there, or you can just say is, okay? So now we are done with the configuration for the animation. Okay, so let's just save our space here. So I'll come to add keyframes, right? Add keyframes. Okay, I'll come here and then I'll give the keyframe name. I said it's what is flip. Okay, and then I'll say this. Okay, then I'll do what yes, I must do this once, right? Must do this brackets, the curly brackets, right? So it's either when you are animating your stuff, you use what you use. Let me just say we set what? We set add keyframes, and then we set flip, flip, and then we set this. You can see what is 0%, and then you start specifying your styles, your CSS, and then maybe you say 100%. You start specifying your styles for CSS, right? You can also have 55% in between there, or 50% in between there, and then specify them, right? So sometimes you might not need to use some values. 0% can be from, then you do this, right? And then 100% can be to, and then you write your CSS in there. Okay, let's go in and see what's up. So we're going to come here, and then I'm going to say 0%, right? So when I'm at 0%, I want things to change. Okay, so usually I demonstrate by the things that I see there right away. When I'm at 0%, um maybe I still have these things, right? Maybe at 0% I have my height. Let me just say right click, for my document is there, right? My height and the width is still 250 pixels, and then when I'm at 100%, maybe or maybe 50%, halfway there, I want what? I want my things to be having what? Maybe the height and the width to be 200, just a little bit smaller, right? So let me also say format document. This is a nice feature, the format document. So when we're saying what do you call it, we started by 250 pixels, which is bigger, and then 200 pixels maybe could be like this, and then 100 pixels, 200 pixels back again, it will be like this. So it will start being bigger, then get smaller, then bigger. Okay, that's what we wanted. And then when we're at 100%, you can see what, you can see this, and then maybe come back. Okay, so we are starting with the normal one, then go reduce a little bit, then go back to the normal one. Then since we said it's infinite doing that animation, so it will always come back again and say 0%, 50%, 100%, 0%, 50%, 100%. Okay, so let's go check it out. So now it is not moving, but now when we do this, you see what it does. It won't show that much quicker. Like, it won't show that much what do you call it, what is that, apparently, right? Because of what, we do not have an animation or a transition in there, right? It's just there's no transition in there. Remember that I said that if you wanted to move from state A to B, you need to define also the time to move from there. Otherwise, it is just not gonna be, it is just gonna be a rough move there, because if we go down there, the computer is actually changing the colors very fast. It's just that we can't catch them by eye. Okay, so but if we do this, uh oh, no, 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 I'm actually lying. We haven't done anything to change the rotation. Okay, so okay, before I come there, so there's also this. I can say that transform, rotate, let me say 0 deg. Okay, then I can copy this, then I will skip here, so I'll just say 360 degrees, right? When I skipped here, it means that from here 0 until here, maybe at some point 50%, it will use some of the remaining on the air. Okay, but as long as it doesn't cancel to go back to 0 degrees. Okay, so let's do like this. If I do this, do you see what it does? Right, do you see what it does? So let me just wipe out this height and width so that we can check them out what is actually going on, right? Oh, there was no need for me to highlight the one, I mean, like, comment the ones which are 250 pixels, because they were just normal ones. Okay, so this is what's happening, you see. Okay, so this is just rotation, but remember that this is just a trick that we gave to ourselves. If we do this and remove the cycle, this is what's actually there, right? Do you see what's happening? But because we had a thought of like, okay, a cube can give us a cycle, then we had all that. Okay, so it does not mean that you can be able to only achieve a certain type of an animation alone or strictly, so you can come about so many types of animations there. Okay, so the reason again when we um uh, commented this ones out is because of what, maybe we can use maybe what, maybe the ones that are smoother, I don't know, because even here you can just use transitions, is fine, but using just the width and the height is so much risky, right? But let's just do it like this. Yes, it was showing as if it's much more rougher. Okay, you see, it's like as if it's like breaking or shaking, right? So I'm not sure if we were missing what, the transition, the side transition, let me just say 0.34 seconds. Okay, maybe it could make it smoother, yes, but it is still having like to shake there. Okay, so sometimes when you see this kind of results, it tells you right away that okay, I'm not the correct property to be added there. Okay, it means that maybe the width and the height was not something which was good. Okay, let me just remove them there, and maybe let me remove even them from here, right? So what can we use rather instead of this? Because we have this, maybe we can use what, maybe we can use padding. Let me just say padding, maybe 50 pixels, right? Maybe here, and then maybe padding 20 pixels. Okay, then maybe here padding 50 pixels, go back to normal. Okay, then we can come back here. Okay, it's still rough. Okay, then it means that we have to use just those ones, the transform, translate, not transform, translate, transform scale, right? And then we specify those pixels there. So I think that one is the most important property to use, right? So let me just remove the padding ones, and then when we're in class, we're gonna demonstrate with the ones of transform scale. Okay, because I didn't do the transform scale, we only did transform rotate, transform x, and transform translate y, right? So I cannot just do the things that we didn't do at all, at all, at all, at all. Especially if it's going to be looking like it is a disjoint property or a property that does not directly relate to what we have done, right? So we need to see that properly. So for now, just have this one. It is doing what? It is doing that. But also, we were just seeing that we can just change some properties there. So for example, again, you can be able to swap even these colors here, right? So maybe let me just say border top here was like this. Then I can see what I can say that when it's here, it was like this, right? Then when it's here, I can just change it to what? Maybe to dotted, right? So let's get to see what's up when it's there. Okay, so it's one of those things that you can change. You see, did you see what happened? You see, so it's one of those things that you can change and play around with or something like that. Okay, so yeah, you just see what's up. Okay, let me just remove that. Then yeah, and then this one is the most standard one that we use when we're animating. Thank you.